Are your financial struggles self-inflicted? Probably not how you see it, right? But what if I told you those struggles were ingrained long before you even knew how to balance a checkbook? You don't need more hours, a side hustle, or even a lottery win. You need a financial mindset makeover. I'll show you how I went from drowning in debt, owing more than I earned, to building wealth, despite having a grand total of 2 months of formal financial education. Ever wonder why? Despite your best efforts, money seems to slip through your fingers like sand. Why, even with relentless hard work over time and ruthless budgeting, debt feels like an inescapable part of your identity. For years, I blamed bad luck, a lack of formal training. I convinced myself it was simply my fate. Some are born to prosper, others to struggle, right? Wrong. Money isn't the problem. It's the deeply rooted beliefs we hold about it. And I'm not talking some airy-fairy feel-good philosophy. I mean a concrete, repetitive, almost invisible conditioning process that begins before we can even write our names. See, from childhood, our subconscious absorbs everything we hear about finances. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. You can't have it all. Be careful what you wish for. These phrases, repeated by well-meaning but financially clueless parents, teachers, and neighbors, shaped your relationship with money. So you grow up, crave a better life, seek solutions. But something inside sabotages every attempt. That promotion that never comes, the debt that keeps piling up, money appearing only to vanish in a puff of smoke. I know the feeling intimately. I was earning a paltry $4,000 a year and owing $6,000. The crazy thing is, almost everyone around me was in the same boat. We were trapped in a collective mindset, working ourselves ragged, yet going nowhere. And here's the kicker. That's not coincidence, it's resonance. You attract what aligns with your internal programming, including people, situations, and financial outcomes. Believe, even unconsciously, that you don't deserve wealth, and you repel it. Associate money with guilt, fear, or insecurity, and you create invisible barriers to prosperity. Most people try to fix this with brute force. They work harder, study relentlessly, but remain stuck in the same cycle. Why? Because they're treating the symptoms, not the root cause. The root cause is in your mind, in your feelings about money, in your belief in what's possible for you. Think about it. How many unexpected windfalls have you seen evaporate? How many opportunities did fear and self-doubt make you walk away from? These behaviors don't appear out of thin air. They stem from your self-image, a deeply ingrained belief in how much you deserve to earn. This self-image is so powerful that even when you achieve something beyond your expectations, you subconsciously sabotage yourself, returning to your comfort zone, your financial thermostat. My life turned around, not when I mastered spreadsheets or investment strategies, but when I realized I needed to change my self-image. I needed to genuinely believe a different life was possible, that prosperity was attainable. This process began with a simple exercise I encourage you to try right now. Write down the highest amount you've ever earned in a single year. Now look at that number. Ask yourself, why was that the limit? Did you set that ceiling, or did someone else, unbeknownst to you, impose it? That simple question can be painful, revealing that you're living out a script you didn't write. I'm here to tell you, you can rewrite that script. You can change that image. But you must first believe it's possible. I know what you're thinking. I'm drowning in debt. I don't have time. My situation is impossible. I get it. I thought the same. But reality isn't destiny. It's a reflection of your daily beliefs and feelings. Want to change your reality? Start today by shifting your beliefs about money. Stop repeating the narrative of scarcity. Start affirming, I'm learning to prosper. I deserve abundance. Money is my ally. More importantly, feel it as if it were true. Your subconscious doesn't differentiate between fantasy and reality, but it responds to repeated emotional statements. It might seem too simple to work, but I challenge you. For 7 days, repeat these affirmations every morning, looking yourself in the eye in the mirror. At first, you'll feel silly, but something will shift. Your posture will change. Your energy will change. Opportunities will change. That's exactly what I did. That's how I escaped the debt trap, not through harder work, but a transformed mindset. Money doesn't come to those who struggle. It comes to those who allow it. And allowing is an internal choice, one only you can make. Now, have you noticed how your financial results mirror those of your closest associates? Take a moment. Think of the people you spend the most time with, friends, colleagues, close family. What's their lifestyle like? What are their beliefs about money? How often do they talk about lack? How frequently do you hear phrases like "times are tough," "money's getting tighter," or "only crooks and politicians get rich"? Your environment silently shapes your destiny, your energy, and so is everything in the universe. Everything vibrates, everything is in constant motion, and attracts like the law of vibration, a fundamental principle of the universe. This means you're attracting circumstances, people, and opportunities that match your current frequency, including your social circle. For years, I lived this truth. When I was making $4,000 a year and owing $6,000, everyone around me was in a similar predicament. We were all grinding it out, counting pennies, believing wealth was a privilege reserved for the silver spoon set. It was a survival mentality, not an abundance one, and I was comfortable in that environment. There's a certain comfort in being surrounded by people who validate your limitations. You feel understood, accepted, even protected. But that protection comes at a cost. It stunts your growth. One day, someone said something that jolted me. If you want to change your life, you need to surround yourself with people who are already living the life you want. It stung because it was true. I wasn't surrounded by success. I was surrounded by reflections of my own story. And until that changed, nothing would. Ever felt like you had an invisible ceiling, a force pulling you back, no matter how hard you try to rise above? That force is often your environment. The conversations you hear, the beliefs circulating in your groups, the advice from those who haven't achieved what you crave. A pivotal dinner changed my perspective forever. I was invited to dine with a group of successful entrepreneurs. Initially, I felt utterly out of place. As they discussed investments, international travel, and business expansion, my mind screamed, "You don't belong here." But in that discomfort, something awakened. I realized they weren't smarter than me. They just thought differently. They didn't speak of debt. They spoke of opportunities. They didn't complain about the system. They sought ways to overcome it. They didn't limit themselves to what they already had. They were always expanding. In that moment, I understood. If I wanted different results, I needed to inhabit different environments. This isn't about abandoning friends and family. It's about seeking higher references. Don't sever ties, but include people who are already where you want to be. They'll propel you forward, showing you what's possible, activating a broader vision of who you can be. Science backs this up. A Harvard Business School study showed our social circles directly influence our financial decisions. People around investors are more likely to invest. Those surrounded by indebted individuals tend to perpetuate the same patterns. You become a reflection of the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's powerful. Because just as your environment can imprison you, it can also liberate you. Connecting with people who talk about growth, abundance, and possibility reprograms your internal system. Your brain creates new pathways, your perception expands, and you begin to think, if they can do it, so can I. You might be thinking, But where do I find these people? I don't know anyone like that. I understand. I didn't either. But how did I start? By reading books, attending seminars, going to events, connecting with content that vibrated at a different frequency. Gradually, this opened doors to people living in ways I'd never imagined. Today, it's even easier. The internet has placed the world at your fingertips. Mentors, communities, training programs, groups, and channels are all just a click away. But none of this will work if you continue feeding the same thoughts, listening to the same voices, having the same conversations. You need to make a conscious choice, a decision to surround yourself with people and content that elevate your vibration, challenge your limited vision, and propel you forward, even when you want to retreat. Look around you. Who are the 3 people that come to mind when you think of those you talk to most? Do they inspire or limit you? Do they bring you closer to your desired life, or keep you stuck in the life you want to leave behind? The answer might be uncomfortable, but it could also be the beginning of your liberation. You don't have to remain trapped in an environment that doesn't reflect your inner self. You can and should choose to grow. And that starts by choosing who you journey with. Nobody climbs a ladder of success surrounded by those who only see rungs of fear. How many times have you repeated the same financial mistakes, promising yourself it would be different this time? You get paid, you plan, you organize. Then, without realizing it, you're back in the same old patterns. You spend on non-essentials, self-sabotage at crucial moments, and accrue debt you swore you'd avoid. Even knowing you're making mistakes, you're stuck in this cycle. It's like something stronger is in control. And it is. There's an invisible program running your financial life, and not just your finances, but your health, relationships, and happiness too. This program is your paradigm. Your paradigm is a set of beliefs and habits deeply rooted in your subconscious. It dictates how you react to money, handle success, and approach opportunities. The most astonishing part? It was installed before you even understood what money was. Most of it formed in childhood, absorbing your environment, hearing, observing, feeling. From there, it strengthened with each experience of scarcity, each negative comment about wealth, each accumulated frustration over the years. Ever wonder why someone earns a fortune and loses it all? Or why someone who inherits a windfall quickly returns to zero? That's not bad luck. It's your paradigm working with mathematical precision. I know this firsthand. Even after starting to earn substantial sums, millions, something always made me lose control. I couldn't sustain the new standard. I'd build rapidly growing companies only to see them collapse, again and again, until I understood my financial paradigm was still one of scarcity, even if my bank account said otherwise. I felt like I was playing a board game, getting sent back several spaces every time I neared victory. It wasn't until I delved deeply into the workings of the mind that it all clicked. I discovered the subconscious doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. It simply accepts, stores, and executes. It's fertile ground. Whatever you plant, there grows. But what have you been planting? Fear, scarcity, guilt, shame, or security, abundance, deservingness? The scariest part is that most of the time, your paradigm operates unseen. You think you're making conscious decisions, but you're just repeating automatic patterns installed decades ago. These patterns are stubborn, nurtured over years, reinforced by experiences, and legitimized by loved ones. But the good news is they can be changed. The first step is becoming aware of them. Look at your results. They don't lie. Your bank balance, the piling bills, the feeling you get when you open a statement, all directly reflect your paradigm. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter how many courses you've taken. If your paradigm is limited, your results will be limited. It's like trying to install a modern app on an outdated operating system. It simply won't work. Or trying to change the TV channel with the wrong remote. Until you change what's running inside, everything on the outside stays the same. So how do you change it? Through conscious repetition, through the emotion attached to a new mental image. You need to start visualizing with clarity and feeling the lifestyle you want to live, and repeat it daily as if it were already real. Your subconscious will accept it. It has no filter. In 1973, I wrote on a piece of paper that I would have a globally operating company. At that point, I had no idea how that would happen. Zero. No structure, no team, no influence. But I had one thing, a vivid image in my mind, and that image was fueled daily with intensity, conviction, and a genuine feeling that it was possible. Today, my company reaches people on every continent, transforming thousands upon thousands of lives. And it all started with an idea that planted a new seed in my subconscious. You can do the same, but you have to be willing to challenge your current programming, to question that voice that says you weren't born for this, that it's too late, that there's no way out, because that voice isn't yours. It's your old paradigm trying to keep you in your comfort zone, even if that comfort zone is full of limitations. Now pause and consider, what's your most repeated money pattern? Do you earn and spend it all? Avoid talking about finances, fear charging for your work. These are symptoms. The cause is within and you can rewrite it. But that requires decision, commitment, discipline. It requires rejecting what no longer serves you and nurturing a new pattern with new thoughts, emotions, and actions. You're not broken. You're running an outdated program, and at any moment you can install a new one. But that decision, no one can make it for you. Have you noticed that knowing what to do isn't enough? You know you should save. You know you should invest your time better. You may even know how to budget. But real life doesn't conform to your good intentions, and that frustrates you because you have the knowledge. You've watched the videos, read the books, followed the advice, yet you see the same results, or lack thereof. Here's a harsh but liberating truth. Knowledge changes nothing. Information alone is useless without deep emotional commitment and consistent, dedicated action. That's where almost everyone stumbles. Most believe that knowing is the same as transforming. But the world is full of people who know what to do and don't do it. What's missing isn't theory, it's practice with intention, feeling, and persistence. I remember a period when my company was doing exceptionally well financially. The numbers were impressive. The results were coming in, but it felt like something was always about to collapse, and from time to time it did. I was earning significant money, but couldn't hold on to it. Periods of massive growth were followed by painful crashes. It was a constant zigzag on the graph. For years, I thought the problem was strategic. I tried changing management, revising plans, restructuring processes, until I realized the problem wasn't the business, it was me. That's when I met Sandy Gallagher. She was a corporate finance lawyer, a true money expert. She didn't just understand how money worked on paper, she understood the psychology behind it. And when we started working together, she asked a question that completely changed my perspective. You know how to make money, but do you know how to keep money? That hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd spent years learning to attract wealth, but hadn't developed the internal structure to sustain it. And that's more common than you think. People land great jobs and remain in debt. Professionals rise quickly, but can't manage their success. Heirs lose fortunes in a matter of years. This happens because intellectual knowledge doesn't alter the emotional paradigm. You can have a finance degree and still fear opening your credit card bill. You can be a business expert and feel ashamed to charge fairly for your services. You can be admired by others and feel like an imposter inside. Unlocking your true potential isn't about accumulating knowledge. It's about embodying it. Think about fitness. Countless people understand the benefits, watch motivational videos, yet remain sedentary. Why? Because the emotional shift hasn't happened. It's the same with finances. True prosperity isn't a matter of understanding concepts. It's feeling a deep-seated belief in your deservingness, a knowing that financial security is your birthright, that success is achievable without guilt or fear. This conviction isn't downloaded, it's cultivated. One powerful method is emotionally charged repetition, consciously repeating positive affirmations and visualizations. This isn't robotic recitation, it's heartfelt engagement, a way to reprogram your subconscious mind. To jumpstart this, identify one self-sabotaging financial behavior: impulsive spending, procrastination, aversion to budgeting. Choose just one. For 7 days, replace it with its opposite. Instead of complaining about high prices, express gratitude for your ability to afford something. Instead of "this is outrageous," try "I'm grateful I can choose this." It seems small, but this shift in language subtly rewires your emotional state, gradually altering your behavior and results. The old patterns will resist. They'll whisper doubts, question your progress. This is where many falter. But those who persevere, they create a new reality. They literally become a new person. Consider Mike Tyson, a boxing legend who amassed a fortune and lost it all. Why? Because his internal worldview didn't match his external reality. He conquered the ring, but lost the battle within himself. This isn't judgment, it's a wake-up call. Sustainable achievement requires emotional preparedness. So stop chasing more information and start applying what you already know. Inject emotion into your changes. Immerse yourself in the vision of your transformed life. Act as if it's already your reality. Feel like you've already won. When you act with conviction, the universe responds in kind. You don't need perfect knowledge. You need to engage with what you have with presence, intention, and authenticity. Step by step, habit by habit, the impossible fades, and the extraordinary becomes your everyday. Most people wait for permission to prosper. They wait for an external validation, a booming economy, a promotion, a lucky break. But that permission never comes, because it originates not from the outside, but from within. For years, I felt like a fraud, even as my income grew. I self-sabotaged, creating chaos where there was order, fearing judgment, and appearing greedy. A core belief lingered: wealth isn't for people like me. How many times have you felt that way, forcing yourself into a place you didn't feel you belonged? This isn't incompetence. It's internal permission denied, the echo of old voices whispering that you should be modest, that wanting more is selfish, that abundance is a sin. Forgive yourself for believing these lies. Carrying guilt blocks abundance. It's an emotional anchor. You're paddling, but you're not moving. I remember a substantial payment for a speech, a huge event, people from all over the world. The fee was fair. It reflected my work. Yet, upon depositing the check, I hesitated. Shame washed over me. I felt like a cheat. That's when I realized parts of me still didn't feel worthy. I started repeating a simple yet powerful affirmation: I allow myself to prosper. Not I want, not I try, I allow. Have you said that to yourself? Looked in the mirror and declared with unshakable conviction your worthiness of a full, rich, and effortless life? Or do you still sabotage yourself with thoughts like, who am I to have all this? What if people think I've changed? What if I lose it all? These aren't your voices, they're echoes of the past, emotional baggage disguised as logic. While you listen to them, you'll remain trapped even with open doors. Emotional science reveals we expand our lives to the point where we feel secure enough to receive. That's why people refuse opportunities, masked as not the right time, I need more preparation, I'll wait for the next cycle. But the truth is, they fear shining. Do you fear shining? Fear surpassing your family? Fear breaking generational patterns of scarcity? These fears are valid and must be addressed honestly. You don't need anyone's permission. You were authorized to win at birth. The life you desire exists because you have a right to it. What would you do today without fear of seeming ambitious? What would you start if you knew with absolute certainty that you deserve everything you desire? And most importantly, what are you waiting for to allow yourself to take that step? Permission won't come from a boss, a degree, an inheritance, or a miracle. It comes from the moment you look yourself in the eye and say, "Enough. I allow myself to live the life I was born to live." That's the turning point, and it's entirely up to you. You don't need more effort, you need a new way of thinking. True change starts from the inside out, when you abandon old patterns and intentionally create a new reality. If this resonated with you, you've already begun to change. This is your chance to continue that journey. The next video on your screen will help you ascend to the next level of your evolution. And I truly believe it can make you 1% better than you are now. And that 1% can change everything. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.